Yes. Can you please confirm that my screen is visible to all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, so from last 2-3 class, we are discussing about emission. Okay, in which initially we started about the history of emissions, emissions regulation, how to do the measurement of the emission, what is the emission standards for particularly Indian conditions or Indian adoptions. And then we discussed about some of the regulated pollutants, the reason why they do form during the combustion process. And then after that, we discussed about exhaust gas recirculation. That is one of the way to reduce the NOx formation during the combustion process itself, inside the combustion chamber. In the last class also, I discussed or touched the points that as far as the control of the emission is concerned, we have two options. Either let it form inside the combustion chamber or first another way. Do the combustion control in such a way that you don't allow the pollutants to be formed inside the combustion chamber, or it should form only within the combustion with limit. And then once it's come out into the exhaust tailpipe and go to the atmosphere, it fulfills the at least emission regulation. But if you do like that, and if you control all the emission uh, control, if you control the emission inside the combustion chamber itself, then you are going to compromise with performance of the engine a lot. And that is not the viable option. Then the second option is that let it form inside the combustion chamber as it can form and maximize the performance of the emission. So your combustion control system should be like that you are controlling the combustions only from the point of view to improve your combustion or power output or efficiency of the engine, and you are not giving any attention to the emissions, particularly during the combustion phase. So once the product will come out into the tailpipe, exhaust tailpipe, it will contains the pollutants, and that is too high. So you need to do some kind of the treatment into the tailpipe itself, and then it will go to the atmosphere and it will fulfill your emissions regulation. So if you're controlling the emission into the any sort of the way, if you're controlling the combustion into the tailpipe, exhaust tailpipe, that the process or that the technology is called exhaust after treatment. Exhaust after treatment. It means it has formed and then you are controlling it through the chemical uh, or whatever the way. In during the tail, once it is going out to the atmosphere. So that is called exhaust after treatment technology. But the second option is also not viable because uh, it's really very difficult to control all sort of the emissions into the tailpipe itself because of the retention time of the exhaust gas. The second thing is that exhaust after treatment technology is the cost involved. It creates the back pressure into the back pressure that will hamper the performance also. So both a standalone option is not viable to control the emission and optimize or maximize the performance of the engine. So what normally the best options, and that what most of the automotive industry follows, or not most of the, but all the automotive industries follows, that they control the emission formation inside the combustion chamber during the combustion process itself up to the limit where the performance of the engine is not affected too much, or it depends upon the calibration engineer that how much compromise they can do with the performance of the engine. And then whatever the emissions formed, they then control through the exhaust after treatment technology. So both way partially, it is always beneficial to control the emissions and fulfill the emission regulation. So EGR is one of the way to control the formation or control the emission into the combustion chamber itself during the combustion process. But we cannot, as we discussed in the last class, we cannot use EGR up to the max, up to the unlimited fraction or maximum fraction. Otherwise, it is going to hamper the performance of the engine because it replaces the oxygen. OK, so some of the exhaust after treatment we need to also study, particularly that is being used currently into the automotive industries. One of them is three-way catalytic converter or three-way catalytic reduction. That is called T, in short form TWC, three-way catalytic reduction. Three-way catalytic converter or reduction, we call it TWC. TWC is mainly used to reduce the emissions from the SI engine. From the SI engine. OK. TWC is mainly used for SI engine. That is the very important thing that you have to know. So if you look, if you have a car at your home or even in the campus, you can see just lay down on the ground because you have to do that. Then you can see the exhaust tailpipe and you see that exhaust tailpipe is not a just a pipe. It contains a different kind of the structure. One of them is a silencer and the rest of the things, the different kind of the structure. It is a exhaust after treatment technology. So this three-way catalytic converter, TWC, is used in the SI engine to reduce the SC, CO and NOx simultaneously. Since TWC is used to take care of these three pollutants, HC, CO, NOx, therefore it is called three-way catalytic converter. So this is the inlet of the exhaust and this is the exhaust of outlet of the exhaust. When exhaust will pass through the three-way catalytic converter. OK, it will, here is the heart of the TWC. This is the what you can see, it is a substrate. It has a honeycomb kind of the structure and it is coated with some of the catalyst and that is mainly it is a rhodium or platinum. When it is a kind of mesh. when the pollutants will pass through this mesh, then it will come into contact of the catalyst, and HC and CO will oxidized to H2O and CO2, and NOx will reduce to N2. Okay. Sc and CO will oxidized with the help of oxygen in the presence of the catalyst into H2O and CO2, and the NOx will reduced with the presence of the CO and the catalyst into the CuN2. And in that way, the three-way catalytic converter, it takes care of the HC, CO and NOx. And then it once come out, the H2, CO2 and nitrogen, it forms and then it go into the combustion chamber, into the atmosphere. But the most important thing is that when you can see the left hand side, a graph, it's a very important graph, where what it is showing here on the y-axis, it is saying catalyst efficiency, how efficiently the catalyst is working, or how efficiently it is converting or taking care of the pollutants. And on the x-axis, you have an air-fuel ratio. Okay. And what we are getting it here, that when the engine is running very close to the stoichiometric air-fuel ratio or slightly rich mixture, then in that condition, the catalytic efficiency, the efficiency of the oxidation of SCCO and reduction of nitrogen is almost more than the 80%. Okay, SC and CO, it is in the range of 80 to around, you can say 90%. And NOx, the NOx conversion efficiency is very high as long as the engine is running close to the stoichiometric or slightly rich mixture. But as soon as the air-fuel ratio becomes linear, the conversion efficiency of the NOx is reduced drastically. That is really very important. However, you can see in the linear condition, the conversion efficiency of HC and CO is not affecting too much. It is almost up to the limit. It is a highest and it remains constant up to the 14.8 or more than that. But in the linear side, rich side, the conversion efficiency of HC and CO is also reducing. So if we have to really see this converter or into the call it three-way catalytic converter, where this equipment take care about all three pollutants, then your engine should always run in a very narrow range of the air-fuel ratio. Beyond that, it is not going to be called three-way catalytic converter because it is not taking care of all three pollutants in very high conversion efficiency. Now, as I told that you have to really analyze, okay, what I told you here, that HC and CO oxidized with, it reacts with oxygen in the presence of catalyst and converted into H2 and CO2, whereas the NOx reacts with CO because CO acts as a reducing agent in the presence of your catalyst and it is reduced to N2. That is the what it is the chemical reactions takes place inside the three-way catalytic converter at the specified temperature. With this hint, you may analyze that why do we need to run the engine in such a close narrow of the air fuel ratio to get the maximized conversion efficiency for all three pollutants. And once you are deviating from this narrow range of the air fuel ratio, the conversion efficiency is reducing drastically. So that's the three-way catalytic converter is working. Three-way catalytic converter, I think from the Bharat norms 3 onwards, it is being used in the SI engine along with the EGR. EGR initially people used in a fixed conversion, a fixed fraction of the EGR. Then over the time, the control system has been matured and then they can use the variable EGR, okay, depending upon the requirement at certain operating condition of the engine. So that's all the story of the three-way catalytic converter. But always remember, this is only used for the SI engine. Yes. Do you have any question here regarding three-way catalytic converter, TWC? Okay. Now let's move to the next converter, that is called diesel oxidation catalyst. In diesel engine, okay, the same way the way this converter is used for the SI engine, it is called three-way catalyst, TWC. Okay, the same way in the diesel engine, there is another converter, and that is called diesel oxidation catalyst. Diesel oxidation catalyst. Diesel oxidation catalyst, it's only take cares about HC and CO. Okay, it is all diesel engine as it always runs towards the linear side. So there is a oxygen already present in the exhaust as it comes out from the combustion chamber. Then it goes to the diesel oxidation catalyst, where it reacts in the presence of the catalyst and then converted into the H2 and CO2. Okay, DOC, this is called DOC, diesel oxidation catalyst. It doesn't take care about the NOx emission. Okay, because you need to find it out why it is. So the diesel in the diesel engine, we use a exhaust after treatment technology that is called DOC, diesel oxidation catalyst. Okay, that take care of only two pollutants, HC and CO. It's not like TWC, that is three-way catalytic converter, that will take care about HC, CO and NOx. DOC only take care about the HC and CO. And therefore, during our our discussions in the last class or even last to last class, the way we say that HC and CO pollutants is very easy to control it during with the help of the after treatment technology. But the NOx and particulate matter, these two pollutants is really very painful to control it for the automotive engineer. Okay. So see, it has a, as I told you, it has this monolith kind of the structure. And there is a channel. Inside this channel, there is a your catalyst is coated inside here. The exhaust gas passes through the channels and comes into contact with the catalyst, and then the reactions takes place. Okay, this is the same, the diesel oxidation catalyst. So for the, as far as the what is called after treatment technology is concerned, for the HC and CO, SC and CO. Okay, TWC or DOC is sufficient to take care even in the case of Bharat Norm 6. Okay. Now the third thing is called DPF. DPF, diesel particulate filter. Diesel particulate filter. Okay. We need to give a special attention in order to control the particulate matter. Why it is so? Because other pollutants like HC, CO, NOx, as we know, these are the gaseous pollutants. But the particulate, it is a solid based pollutants. So taking care of the particulate requires a special attention. Okay, and to control the particulate, we have a different kind of the after treatment technology, and that is called DPF, diesel particulate filter. Okay, filter is very important term here because when we are going to discuss, you'll find it out. It is nothing but it is just like a filter itself. So what you can see here, the structure, it is a combined structure of the DOC and DPF. In one housing itself, there is both after treatment is assembled here. One is diesel oxidation catalyst, that is DOC, and this one is the DPF. So when the exhaust gas enters into this our whole structure, then it will first of all pass through the diesel oxidation catalyst where the SC and CO will be oxidized, and then it will go into the DPF, and there the particulate is going to be take care, and finally whatever it is coming H2O, CO2, nitrogen, and even NOx will be still there because anyway we are it's not like that there is no HC and CO will present at the exit also. There will be a small amount, but that amount will be into the very small fraction or within the limit of the regulations. Okay. Otherwise, we can say that after treatment technology has the conversion efficiency of 100%. That is not a reality. So obviously it is in that here the SC and CO will be also there, but it is within the limit. So that is the one thing, the DPF. So as I told you, if you see the DPF structure, this is the only the DPF structure. You just see it here. There is also a channel here. But what is the most important thing is that if you look it very carefully, what we can see, the DPF, the another end, one end of the DPF is blocked here. And the next channel, it is blocked at the entry level. Then alternatively, each channel is either blocked at the end point or at the entering point. So what will happen? That when exhaust will enter into the DPF, okay, it will enter into the channel which has blocked at the end. Okay, so let us on the top this channel, it is entering in that channel, and then it is seeing that it is blocked. Okay, then what will happen? The whatever the exhaust is trapped here, it will force to pass through this interface, and it has a porosity. That is our filter. Okay, if this filter has a porosity, it will allow the gaseous product to pass through this filter and the solid particles will be filtered out itself. And that is what, and once it comes into this channel, then the entering point is blocked. So the gaseous product will go out through the exit. And that is what it is happening. So and therefore I told you the filter terms is very important here. It is in fact, it is a filtering out the solid particles and it will not allow to pass out the particulate into the atmosphere. But you can argue that there's a limitation. After the certain time, what will happen? The porosity of this DPF is going to be blocked because of these solid particles, and then even the gas will face it will not pass through that sieve. Then what it is going to be? Yes, that is the problem. Then what we need to do? We need to do the regeneration of the particulate filter. Regenerations, it means we need to do something. This particulate it's not so easy. We need to increase the temperature of the DPF up to the limit where this solid particulate, it can burn out and convert it into the ash. And once it is done, then it will pass out from this filter and it go out to the atmosphere. So we need to do the regeneration time to time, depending upon how fast it is blocking. Now regeneration is of the DPF is another technical challenge, or there are different ways that people are using it. OK, it needs a high temperature. So sometimes, or it depends, the people use the microwave, pass through the microwave wave, or they heat the DPF electrically. OK, or sometimes what they do, they increase the temperature of the exhaust gas by using the what is called lead injection into the combustion chamber. OK, that slow reactions will go on and it will increase the temperature of the exhaust. If you remember, when I was discussing about common rail direct injection system, then there I touched one point, multiple injection system. It means you can inject more than once in a cycle. And depending upon the capability of the hardware and the control system, you may inject 2, 3, 4, 5 times in a cycle. And then we term as there are 3 terms we use it: pre-injection, main injection, and post-injection. Main injections, it is injected towards the end of compression stroke. If before that, during the compression itself, if the sum of the injection is taking place, that is called pre-injection. And if you are injecting after the main injection during the expansion stroke, that is called post-injection. That what we covered it. And at that time itself, I also made a statement that pre-injection, we do it to improve the homogeneity of the combustion chamber, reduce the combustion noise. Whereas the post-injection is mainly effective, we do from the emissions point of view. And that is the reason why we do the post-injection. Because if you do the post-injections during the later stage of the expansion stroke, OK, some amount of the gas, some amount of fuel, then what will happen? It is not going to contribute power output, but it increase the temperature of the exhaust gas, and your after treatment devices like for your DPF or your DOC will attain the temperature and its conversion efficiency will suddenly increase. because when that is very important, particularly during the starting phase, because when you are switching on the engine, it is in the idling condition where the exhaust temperature is very minimum. And then at that time, your after treatment devices will not work efficiently and your emissions will too much. There we need to instantly increase the temperature of the exhaust gas. That can be done with the post injection. The second way, other thing is that if your DPF, if you are regenerating the DPF with the help of the extra fuel, then again you have to, that is also beneficiary that you can do the post injections, increase the temperature of the exhaust, and that high temperature of exhaust will burn out the particulates, and then it will be fresh, and then your pollutants are, and then it is your device is going to work efficiently once again. So those vehicles are using the DPF, they have a very good control systems, okay, and either that this control regeneration of the DPF can be done active or in a passive manners, okay, depending upon the your control systems. Either it is automatically that by the help of the sensor, by using the differential pressure, okay, the control system will feel itself that the regeneration is required, and the whatever the way the it is equipped for the regeneration, it will activate and it will regenerate the DPF. Okay. Or if it is not automatically done, then the driver will get some kind of the signals, and then it will activate the regeneration way. So that's the way the DPF is going to work. Some of the engine has a vehicle has a 2 DPF, because once it is blocked, okay, the regeneration is going to be takes place. By the time how the exhaust will go out, then it will divert the exhaust to the another DPF, okay, and then the by the then the another DPF will be regenerate and will be ready to reuse it. So alternatively, you can use the DPF. So depending upon the, there are so many ways that you can control the technology, or you can use the technology, you can control the emissions depending upon how strictly the or how tough the emissions legislations you have to follow it. So that is the story, or that is the what the technical things about the diesel particulate filter. Diesel particulate filter is mainly nowadays is we are using it in a heavy vehicle, okay, because now diesel engine, the soot particulates are very stringent. Not only they have the automotive industry has to fulfill the only the mass basis of the particulate, but they have to also just satisfy the numbers of the particulate also. That and if you will surprise to know that the if you see the number of the particulates present in the number density of the particulates in the present in the exhaust is in the order of around 10 to the power 7 particles per cc, is very small, and its size can vary from 30 nanometer to around 120 or 160 nanometer, and the maxima mostly is around at 80 to 100 nanometer. So it is such a small particles, and it's very large in number. Okay, and this nowadays this is really very important, that it is really very bad for the health. And our nose, whatever we have a natural filtering system in our nose, it's not capable to filtering it out, and it directly goes to the lungs. It's really very dangerous. So we have to take care of this particle of these things. So diesel particulate filter is, as its name suggested, is mainly used for the diesel engine, because particulate is one of the biggest problem in the diesel engine because of the heterogeneity of the combustion. But in the SI engine, where it is a homogeneous combustion, okay, there is a particulate filter. There is a particulate also forms, but there the emission standards is not so stringent. As long as it is a homogeneous combustion, it means you are using the PFI mode. But once you go to the GDI mode, then there is another problem. You have to justify the emission, number regulations also. Okay. So is there any questions related with DPF? So till now we have discussed about TWC that is used for SI engine and the similar version for oxide reduction catalyst. For the diesel engine it is a DOC, okay, diesel oxidation catalyst. And then we discussed about DPF, that is diesel particulate filter that take cares about the particulate matter. Any question till here?
So the DOC does not treat NOx. So do we rely on EGR for NOx treatment?
If you're talking about the passenger cars till now, yes, we are depending upon the EGR to control the NOx. But if it is not possible to take care of the NOx through the EGR, then you have to use some other devices, after treatment devices that we are going to study next. Till Bharat 4, particularly in the passenger car, EGR and DOC for the diesel engine was sufficient to fulfill the emission regulation. Even in the Bharat 6, it is sufficient for the light duty vehicle.
So the diagram here shows soot particle and ash particle for the DPF. So can you explain the difference between soot and ash?
When particulates burn out, then it converts into the ash. There are two terms, okay? It's not what ash is the what is called is the final burning product. There are two terms we need to be very careful. Sometimes we use soot, okay, SOOT soot, and sometimes we used it particulate. In general language, we use sometimes soot or sometimes particulate, but there is a difference, technical difference between these two. Soot is a solid carbon particle. Soot is a solid carbon particle. And what happens that when the hydrocarbons that is in the gaseous phase condensed over the soot particles, then we termed it as a particulate matter. So the particulate matter has two different kind of the things. One is the solid soot particles and another is organic particles. So that's the difference. When it burns out, then it converts into the ashes. However, here it is shown in a small proportion, very small proportion of the ash, that it might be possible that before entering into the DPF, the solid particles have been burned out because of the exhaust gas itself, and in a small fraction it is showing the ash is also present here. I hope it is clear.
And sir, in a previous slide, term soluble organic fraction was mentioned.
Yeah, that was what the organic fraction of the carbon. That is what I was discussing about on the solid soot particles that when and the elemental carbons. So organic fraction of the carbon, that is what the hydrocarbons are deposited on the solid particles. Okay, that we call organic fraction, and the solid carbon particles is called elemental carbon particles. So when the even soot particles passes through the DOC, then the fraction of the particulate matter, particularly that is in the form of the organic carbon, it will be taken care, because it is nothing but it's a kind of the hydrocarbon and it can be taken care. So DOC, what we can say that partially it takes care about the particulate matter also. Anything else?
And so species other than HC, CO, and NOx, they are left untreated
Yes,
in emissions.
yes. What about the unregulated hydrocarbons? Sorry, unregulated pollutants are there. We don't give, or as far as the automotive industry, they don't care about it because it is not regulated, because anything it involves the cost. And also uh, if you see the emissions, even what is called sorry, even if you see the uh, even if you see their emissions with even with the help of the particulate sorry, after treatment and the control system, just about it is fulfilling the emissions regulations. If you sometimes, if you have your car, you just check it your pollution certificate. On the pollution certificate, they do give the range and the what is the status of your car. You will see that even with the new car, it is just on the boundary. And here is the loophole, because once it is come out, your vehicle is come out in the market, then the automotive industry is no longer is going to be the responsible, because the life of the vehicle is considered as far as the now the consider as is a 15 years. Okay, and or probably 2 lakh or 2.5 lakh kilometer running conditions. So one thing is very good that during the lunch time, when your vehicle is coming out from the production, at that time the everything is new and the conversion efficiency is really very good and you are satisfying the emission norms. But who will be going to be the responsible that after some time, is it the owner going to be responsible if the suppose if the emissions certificate is not fulfilling, then who is going to be the responsible? So that here is the one loophole, and that is going to be addressed after the next emissions regulations. And the government is going to put the onus on the fall on the automotive industry itself, that it is not only the during the production stage your vehicle should fulfill the emission norms, but it should fulfill also after 2 years, after 3 years, it has to be fulfilled. But there is a lot of debate it is going on right now, because how after once it is transferred to the owner, okay, how the owner is taking care about the vehicle, it is also very important. So it is going on that maybe the randomly the administrations will choose some of the vehicle depending upon the whose servicing has been done purely as per the described by the company. So in that case, automotive industry cannot say that I'm not going to be the responsible, and then it will go on through the emission testing, and then we'll check it that. So that is another burden is going to fall on the automotive industry, that they don't neither they are not going to be relaxed only after the production stage, but they have to, their system has to be strong enough to take care even after the law 4-5 years or whatever. Anything else?
So these three technologies, TWC, DOC, and DPF, are all of these three very common in automobiles?
DPF is not common. Now it is used to for the Bharat Norm 6. Okay, particularly for the heavy vehicle. And not only three, I have to still cover another SCR, okay, that is used for the NOx emission. And EGR is not sufficient in heavy vehicle to satisfy the emission norms. The SCR is also I have to take care. It's not a very common, but yes, in the Bharat 6 norms, it is a very common to take care. And that's why it is going to be now the exhaust pipeline. It is not a simple pipeline. It is a small chemical factory, we can say.
And so TWC and DOC, those are common.
Yes, it's a very common. It's a very common from the light duty to the heavy vehicle. From the BS3 onwards.